Better, faster, stronger. Science making big strides this year, from experiments that successfully redirected asteroids to machines that created works of art that equal a master's. Joining us now to lay out his top science stories of 2022 is CTV science and technology expert and specialist, Dan Riskin. Great to have you here.
What a year, hey?
No kidding. It felt like all eyes were on the skies this year. Some major developments in technology beyond our planet. We saw the first images from the James Webb Telescope.
Yeah.
I think they all look like 70s album covers. And then we had this record-breaking voyage beyond the moon. What makes all these so significant?
Yeah, I mean, the James Webb came online. We've been waiting for that for decades, right? And the Canadian Space Agency is part of that. So we get, as Canadians, we get to smugly look at those pictures. I think you're right. 70s images will be perfect spray painted on the side of a van.
Right.
I think it would look really good. But just, you know, compared to Hubble, these images are so much better. And that's just one of several space stories. We have that. We flew into an asteroid and redirected it. The first test of technology that could save us if we saw one headed for us that could end our civilization. So that's good planning ahead. And then, of course, we sent a spaceship up to the moon, did a couple laps, and came back. And we're going back to the moon and maybe even beyond to Mars. It really just, like all good science, it makes you excited about the future.
I mean, no big whoop. And that was just in the space and technology front. We also had this huge achievement in fusion energy. And you and I were just talking about this.
Yes.
The process, same process that powers the sun. They generated huge amounts of energy. What does that moment mean, and for now and for the years beyond?
Nuclear fusion has been this like promised technology of the future that's going to give us limitless energy, where you can take a bucket of seawater and get all the energy you need just by smushing together the hydrogen atoms that are in there and making them into helium without nuclear waste, without creating carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. And that has always been a goal that seems so far away because we were never able to get more energy out of the equation than we put in. And that changed this year, where they fired a whole bunch of lasers at a sample, and the energy that came out was greater than the energy they'd put in with the lasers. And having crossed that threshold, all of a sudden it becomes, oh, wait, we can power cities with this. And now it's just going to be a couple of decades to figure out how to make it all work. Marvel
fans have reminded me that this is something they've been showing us for a while.
Right. Yeah, Iron Man has this, I believe that's what powers his whole suit and all his stuff. And so we're catching up to Iron Man.
We're catching up to Iron Man. Hey, I loved this story too. In October, researchers in Australia published the results of this experiment where they put neurons in a petri dish, they connected them to electrodes, and then a simulation of Pong happened?
Yeah, so they basically got a bunch of neurons in a petri dish to play a video game, and the neurons in the petri dish wanted to win. That's so neat, right? I mean, you just got a bunch of neurons, they formed their own network, they fired the way they wanted to, and all of a sudden we saw the beginnings of consciousness, because we're on the precipice of understanding how this big, huge thing in our heads actually makes us think and experience the world. And the fact that they could do it on that scale, have these neurons play the video game Pong and actively try to win, I mean, that is a step toward understanding how our brains do everything we do in our lives. And so I'm really excited about that whole branch of research and where it's going.
And I love how you say that we're on the precipice, because that's what a lot of these from this year feels like the beginning steps of things that we've theorized for a long time.
Yeah.
Automation has been taking over different industries for a while. Now, that's not new, but the creative sphere is the latest that we have seen this, right? Artificial intelligence creating art.
Yeah, artificial intelligence has helped science in lots of ways. We've modeled a whole bunch of proteins using artificial intelligence that we couldn't do before. But I like the way artificial intelligence is interacting with us creatively. And this is a piece of art right there that was created with artificial intelligence. Now, people are mad because the person who punched in the instructions for that and then got that to come out of the computer won an art contest with it.
Right.
The Colorado State Fair digital art contest. But you've got artificial intelligence creating art that actually is quite inspiring, and also now writing with ChatGPT, creating works that you can read.
Essays and novels. And
it's crazy. And that, you talk about a precipice. I feel like we've just stepped over the precipice on that one. I feel like we're not about to see this. I think we're now going to spend the next year and years seeing how that changes our world.
And that's a game changer, because you think of things like speeches and presentations. Are you writing it, or is the computer writing it? Do you charge the same amount of money?
Right.
All the things.
Yeah, if you've got to do a stand-up comedy routine, could you just write me a stand-up comedy routine? And then you fix a couple of the jokes, but the creative input can come from a collaborator who is digital.
All right, but the input has to come from the brains, and brain implants, they're showing a lot of promise in treating certain mental disorders. We've had an interesting conversation about that. Tell us again about the advancements.
Yeah, this is really exciting stuff where implants that are bespoke, that go into a person's brain, pay attention to what's happening in the brain and what the patterns are around things that are going wrong, things like addiction or depression, and then learn how to just nudge that brain with a little electrode firing just to change the patterns a little bit so that you don't get into the ruts that your brain goes into. And so they've found in the last year or so that they've been able to treat depression, where it's like a light switch has been flicked for the person that got this implant, and now addiction as well, where those cycles that set up in the brain around addiction just don't set up anymore because they've got something in their head, a literal implant that's firing a little node that says, don't do what you're used to doing, let's do something different. And it works.
No wonder you're so excited about 2022. It was a good one for science.
And we'll see what 2023 brings, of course.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.